Be me, 29 years old, and dating a guy named Khalil for about 2 months. Things are going well, and I really like him so far. Honestly, he is successful and attractive, and we have great chemistry together. Been taking things slow, but I can see this going somewhere real. One night, I am at his apartment, and he steps outside to take a call. Leave my phone in the living room and go to the bathroom quickly. When I come back, I hear him on the balcony, talking to someone on speaker. Something makes me stop and listen instead of announcing I am back. His friend asks how things are going with the girl he has been seeing lately. Khalil says, I am cool and we have fun, but nothing serious will come from it. His friend asks why not, if we have chemistry and get along so well. Khalil laughs and says, because she for the streets, bro. You know how it is. His friend laughs too and says, damn. Yeah, I feel you on that one. Says she probably does not even know that is how she comes across to people. Khalil says, exactly. She thinks she is wifey material, but she is really just for fun. They laugh again and change the subject to something about a game coming up. I stand there frozen, not knowing what for the streets even means exactly, but I know from the context and their laughter it is nothing good at all. Feel my face getting hot and my hands shaking from anger and embarrassment. Walk back to the bathroom quietly so he does not know I heard anything. Sit on the edge of the tub and Google for the streets meaning on my phone. The results make my stomach drop as I read through different definitions online. It means a woman who is not relationship material, only good for casual encounters. Means she is for everyone, not for one person, and will never be taken seriously. Means she has too much baggage or red flags or past behavior for commitment. Means men see her as fun for now, but would never introduce to their family. Means she is the one you mess with, but not the one you marry, ever. Reading these definitions makes me feel sick, because I heard him say this about me. Collect myself and walk back out to the living room, acting normal somehow. Khalil comes back inside and acts like everything is fine between us. We watch a movie, and he is affectionate and sweet, like he always is. But now I cannot stop thinking about what he said when he thought I could not hear. A few days later, I bring it up, without telling him I overheard his conversation. Say I have been thinking about where this is going and if he sees a future. He gets uncomfortable and says he is just enjoying getting to know me right now. Ask him directly if he sees me as someone he could get serious with eventually. He hesitates too long before answering, and that tells me everything I need to know. Finally says he thinks I am great, but he is not sure about long-term compatibility. Ask him what that means specifically, because I need to understand his thinking. He says he just does not think our lifestyles and values line up for something serious. Press him harder, because I need to know if what I heard was real. Ask him if he thinks I am for the streets, because I overheard him say it. His face goes pale, and he starts stammering, trying to explain himself quickly. Says he did not mean it like that, and his friend was asking specific questions. Tell him I Googled what it means, and I know exactly what he was saying. Ask him why he thinks that about me, when I have been nothing but good to him. He sits there quiet for a long time, trying to figure out what to say. Finally says he will be honest, since I already heard it anyway. Says the way I present myself online and talk about my past raises red flags. My social media is full of party photos and girls' trips and clubbing and thirst traps. I talk casually about my body count being high and past casual situations freely. I have stories about drama with exes and messy situations I have been in before. Says the way I dress when we go out is very revealing and gets a lot of attention. I flirt with other guys even when he is right there standing next to me. I am always on my phone texting, and he does not know who I am talking to. My friends are all single and party constantly, and I'm always joining them. Says he likes me and thinks I'm fun to be around and attractive, obviously, but everything about how I present myself screams temporary, not permanent. Says he could never bring me around his family or coworkers or close friends because they would judge him for being with someone like me. Seriously, sit there, absorbing everything he just said to me about how he sees me. Want to be mad and defend myself? But everything he said is factually true. My Instagram is full of club photos and bikini pics and girls' night content. I do talk openly about my past, and I am proud of my sexual liberation journey. I do dress sexy when we go out because I like attention and feeling desired. I do keep my options open by staying active on apps and talking to other guys. My friends are all single, and we do prioritize going out over settling down. Everything he described is accurate, but I never thought about how it looked. Ask him if he would feel differently if I was not like that with my presentation. He says, honestly, yes, because everything else about me is great when we are alone. Says the private version of me that he sees one-on-one is amazing and real, but the public version of me that everyone sees is not someone you take seriously. Says, for the streets does not mean you are a bad person or worthless as a human. It just means you are for fun and temporary, not for building something real. Says men put women in categories, whether we like it or not, based on their behavior, and everything about how I present myself puts me in the temporary category, always. Tell him that is not fair because I have been faithful and good to him so far. He says it is not about what I do with him, it is about the image I project overall. Says if he made me his girlfriend, his boys would clown him for wifing someone like me. Says his family would wonder what is wrong with him for choosing me specifically. Says men talk and compare and judge just like women do constantly in groups. When they see a guy with a girl who is for the streets, they lose respect for him because it shows he could not do better or does not value himself enough. Says he has worked too hard on his reputation to risk it on someone questionable. That word questionable hits me hard because that is how he sees me deep down. Not as a potential partner, but as someone whose past and presentation are questionable. Someone you have fun with, but never claim publicly or introduce to people who matter. Someone who is good enough for private, but not good enough for public commitment. We break up that night because I cannot be with someone who sees me that way. But his words stay in my head long after he is gone from my life completely. Start looking at my social media and my lifestyle through new eyes and perspective. See myself the way men like Khalil must see me. And I do not like what I see. My Instagram looks like an audition reel for reality TV shows. Honestly, every photo is me in a club or a bikini or a girls' trip with drinks everywhere. My captions are all about living my best life and not needing a man and being free. My stories are constantly at bars or parties or traveling somewhere for the weekend. Look at my friends' pages, and they all look exactly the same as mine does. We all present ourselves as party girls who are living our best single lives forever. We post quotes about being unbothered and focusing on ourselves and healing always. But meanwhile, we are all secretly miserable and wondering why no one commits. Think about the guys I've dated over the past few years since college ended. None of them ever made things official or introduced me to important people. They would take me out, but never to places where they might see someone they know. They would come to my place, but never invite me to theirs or to meet their friends. Realize now they were all treating me like I was for the streets too. They saw my presentation and put me in the temporary category immediately. Had fun with me in private, but never claimed me in public or on social media. Moved on and married other girls within a year of us ending things between us. The pattern was always there, but I refused to see it or blame them for it. Told myself they were intimidated or not ready or just playing games with me. Never once considered that maybe I was sending signals about what I was offering. And what I was offering through my lifestyle was not wife material at all. Spend the next few weeks spiraling and examining everything about how I present myself. Join forums where men talk openly about women and dating and what they look for. Find threads about for the streets and the signs men look for to categorize women. Every single sign they list describes me and my friends perfectly, without exception. They talk about high body counts and constant party photos and attention-seeking behavior. They talk about women who prioritize girls' trips and going out over building with someone. They talk about women with a lot of male friends and exes they still talk to regularly. They talk about women who are defensive and say they do not need a man for anything. They talk about women who are always traveling and never home, building something stable. They talk about women who post thirst traps and provocative photos for validation constantly. They talk about red flags in social media bios like healed and unbothered and no games. They say these women are telling on themselves without realizing what they are broadcasting. Read through hundreds of comments from men explaining their thought process on this. They are not being cruel or hateful, just honest about how they screen potential partners. They see certain behaviors and presentations as incompatible with long-term commitment. And everything I do falls into that incompatible category perfectly, every single time. One comment explains it in a way that really makes me understand their perspective fully. He says, imagine you are looking to hire someone for an important position at your company. You get a resume from someone with 15 jobs in 5 years and gaps everywhere between them. Even if they are qualified on paper, you are not going to trust them to stay long-term. Says that is how men see women who present as for the streets with their lifestyle. Even if she is great in the moment, her track record suggests she will not stay or commit. Her past behavior and current presentation predict her future behavior to them clearly. So, they put her in the temporary category and look for someone stable for serious things. That analogy makes perfect sense, and I cannot argue with the logic of it. Honestly, if I saw a man's social media full of partying and different women and red flags constantly, I would never take him seriously or think he was ready for something real with me. I would assume he is for the streets too, and just having fun, not looking to settle down. Decide I need to have an honest conversation with my friends about all of this. Call my girls together for brunch and bring up what Khalil said to me that night. Expect them to validate me and say he was just insecure or could not handle me. Instead, they get quiet, and a few of them admit they have heard similar things before. One friend, Jasmine, says her ex told her she was for everybody when they broke up. She did not understand what he meant at the time and thought he was just being mean. Now hearing my story, she realizes he was saying the same thing Khalil said about me, that she was fun, but not someone he could take seriously for a real relationship. Another friend, Tanya, admits a guy she was talking to called her a party girl once. She took it as a compliment, but he meant it as a reason he could not date her seriously. Said his mom would never approve of someone who was always out at clubs every weekend. Said he needed someone more stable and family-oriented for what he was trying to build. We sit there, realizing we have all been getting the same message in different words. Men see us as temporary fun, not as long-term potential, because of how we present. We thought we were living our best lives, but we were actually disqualifying ourselves from the relationships we actually want by the lifestyle we are broadcasting publicly. Ask them if any of them are actually happy with how their dating lives are going. They all admit no. They are not happy, and they want relationships, but cannot find anyone. We have been validating each other's choices for years, while all being miserable secretly, telling each other we are queens who do not need men, while desperately wanting to be chosen. One friend gets defensive and says we should not have to change for men's preferences, says we can live however we want and the right man will accept us as we are. I used to agree with that, but now I see it differently after everything I learned. Say we can live however we want, but we cannot control how others perceive those choices. Say men are allowed to have preferences and standards, just like we are for partners. If our lifestyle and presentation do not align with what they want in a wife, then so be it. But we cannot be mad when they put us in the for the streets category we created ourselves. We are literally telling them through our behavior that we are not relationship material. The defensive friend gets upset and leaves, saying, "I am being a pick-me for male validation." The other friends stay, and we have the most honest conversation we have ever had together. Admit we have been lying to ourselves and each other about being happy and fulfilled single. Admit we want relationships, but our lifestyle is actively preventing us from getting them. Decide as a group to make some changes to how we present ourselves moving forward, together. Not because we are changing for men, but because we want different results in life. If we want to be taken seriously, we need to present ourselves seriously, not carelessly. Cannot expect wife treatment when we are broadcasting for the streets energy constantly. Start by cleaning up my social media and removing all the party and thirst trap content. Change my bio to something that reflects who I actually want to be, not who I was. Stop posting every time I go out and focus on posting things that show depth and substance. Realize how much of my identity was built around being seen as fun and desirable to everyone. Stop going out every weekend with my girls and start investing time in real hobbies instead. Join a book club and start taking a pottery class I've been interested in for years. Spend more time with family and building real connections instead of surface-level friendships. Realize I was running from myself by staying busy and distracted constantly with partying. Stop entertaining multiple guys at once and focus on actually getting to know one person. Delete the dating apps and let relationships develop naturally through real-life connections. Stop keeping my options open and give people a real chance before moving on to the next. Realize I was scared of commitment, so I kept myself in situations that could not get serious. 6 months later, my life looks completely different from the one I had before. Lost some friends who did not want to change and stayed in the same party cycle, but gained new friends who were in healthy relationships and have different values entirely. My social media looks like it belongs to a completely different person than before. Meet a guy named Isaiah through my book club who is serious and looking for real connection. He tells me after a few dates that he looked at my social media before asking me out. Says he almost did not because I had some red flag posts from my past showing up. But my recent content made him think maybe I was in a different place now than before. Tell him honestly about my past and why I changed how I present myself to the world. Expect him to judge me, but he says everyone has a past, and growth is what matters. Says he appreciates my honesty and the fact that I did the work to become someone different. Says that shows self-awareness and maturity that most people never develop in life. Year later, Isaiah and I are engaged and planning our wedding for next spring together. He tells his friends and family about me proudly and never hides me or treats me temporary. His boys respect him for finding a good woman, and his family adores me genuinely. Realize this is what it feels like to be chosen for real, not just for fun temporarily. Think about Khalil sometimes, and that conversation that destroyed me back then. Could have dismissed what he said and blamed him for being judgmental and wrong. Instead, I listened and examined myself and realized he was telling me the truth. That truth hurt, but it also saved me from years more of being for the streets unknowingly. The phrase, "for the streets," will always sting, but it was the wake-up call I needed, forced me to see myself through male eyes and understand what I was broadcasting, forced me to decide if I wanted to keep living that way or change direction completely. Choosing to change was the hardest and best decision I ever made for my own future. Tell my younger cousin, who is 23, about everything I learned from this experience. She is in her party phase, posting thirst traps and living exactly how I used to live. Try to explain that she is categorizing herself without realizing what she is doing. She dismisses me and says I am judging her and trying to control her like men do. Let her go because she is not ready to hear what I am saying to her right now. She will either figure it out on her own or learn the hard way like I did eventually. Some lessons cannot be taught. They have to be lived through and felt deeply personally. All I can do is hope she figures it out before she hits 29 and 5 years single. Look at my engagement ring and think about how different my life is from before. The woman who was for the streets would never have attracted someone like Isaiah. He wanted someone serious and stable, and I had to become that before he could see me. Could not demand wife treatment while broadcasting for the streets energy to everyone. Sometimes the harshest labels are the ones you need to hear to wake up finally. Sometimes men telling you what you are is the truth you have been avoiding about yourself. Sometimes for the streets is not an insult. It is an accurate description of your choices. And sometimes you have to hear it to understand that you have the power to change categories.